All Elite Wrestling reportedly created father and son tag team championships around a year ago, and this could be where AEW plans to go with Christian Cage and Nick Wayne on AEW television. Speaking of which, we've got more details as to why the proposed reunion between Cope and Christian Cage has been delayed on AEW TV. Speaking of new championships, AEW has reportedly created AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. Kota Ibushi, his first match back in AEW since 2023, has been confirmed for tomorrow's AEW Dynamite. Casino Gauntlet match for both the men's and women's divisions in AEW have been announced for AEW All In Texas. You got the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown on USA Network. Psycho Clown, the AAA star, reportedly is believed to have signed with WWE. Janelle Grant requests emails from WWE and Vince McMahon and more board documents. And the Beast Mortos thanks the CEOs from AEW and CMLL after he returned to Arena Mexico last week. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with new championships being added to All Elite Wrestling, beginning with father and son tag team championships. Now, Christian Cage made his ambition clear on the June 21st edition of AEW Collision, revealing his intentions for himself and Nick Wayne to become the first father and son AEW World Tag Team Champions. Now, whether All Elite Wrestling are planning to bring those plans to fruition is currently unknown, but preparations have been underway for some time, with Bodyslam.net reporting that father and son tag team title bouts were made around 1 year ago. The plans for the father and son tag team titles would involve father and son tag teams, both kayfabe and legitimate, competing for the championships, including the likes of Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens, Kevin Von Erich and one of his sons, Ricky and Kerry Morton, etc. A Jurassic Express reunion has even been discussed, although it is unknown what combination of the former faction this would include, nor is it known how they are storyline related. Original plans called for Christian Cage and Nick Wayne to challenge the Hurt Syndicate for the AEW World Tag Team titles, with one of the talents turning on the other during the contest. Now, when it comes to these plans regarding AEW's Nick Wayne and Christian Cage, many people thought this would lead to Christian Cage reuniting with Adam Copeland and facing off against FTR at All In. We know seemingly now that's not going to happen. Now, months ago, Fightful Select say they had learned that there were major creative plans in order for FTR after their heel turn on Cope. Shortly after that, Fightful were told that creative plans were in place to eventually reunite Cope and former partner Christian on screen, presumably for a program at All In Texas. Those that Fightful have spoken to claim that Cope's on-screen absence actually wasn't supposed to take this long, and there had been internal discussions around bringing him back at Double or Nothing to kick off the feud. However, it was believed that Christian wasn't ready to end things with the patriarchy, and that slowed things down. There had even been discussions of Cope returning to AEW at Double or Nothing. Specifically, it was noted to Fightful that Christian wants to see things through creatively with Nick Wayne, and there has been a lot of time put into it, therefore he wants to see it through to the end. Originally, FTR were pitched to turn heel against the Outrunners last year, but the move was made for that turn to happen against Cope when the possibility of the match came about. Now, as things stand now, Fightful say they haven't heard on if there are even still plans for Cope and Christian Cage to reunite at some point on AEW TV. Speaking of tag team titles, it looks like All Elite Wrestling plans for a new set of championships have been revealed. According to Bodyslam.net, AEW created women's tag team title bouts around 1 year ago, and they have been ready to use since then. The bouts were created at the same time as AEW Father and Son Tag Team Championships, which would see both real and storyline father and son duos, including Christian Cage, compete for the titles. If the bouts would be a custom version of the AEW World Tag Team titles or another set of championships as part of the storyline with Cage and Wayne is currently unknown. Fans and AEW talents have long called for the creation of AEW Women's Tag Team Championships, with AEW President Tony Khan revealing he was interested in introducing the titles earlier this year. Titles currently available in the AEW Women's Division include the AEW Women's World Championship and the TBS Championship. 3 women's titles are also up for grabs in Ring of Honor, the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, and the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Championship. Now, AEW has made the announcement that Kota Ibushi will have his first match in AEW since 2023. The Accesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington played host to the June 21st edition of AEW Collision, where the fans in attendance got to witness the surprise return of Kota Ibushi to All Elite Wrestling. The Golden Star interacted with Kazuchika Okada for the first time since their time in New Japan Pro Wrestling, with Okada now part of the Don Callis family and targeting Ibushi's longtime friend Kenny Omega. Not only was Kent, Washington the place where Ibushi made his return to AEW, but this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, it will play host to Ibushi's first match in AEW since 2023. AEW President Tony Khan took to X to announce that Ibushi will be in action on the June 25th edition of AEW Dynamite, where he will go one-on-one with Trent Beretta of the Don Callis family. Ibushi and Beretta have only ever shared the ring in tag team matches, with those matches taking place in New Japan Pro Wrestling towards the end of 2018, making this the first time in both men's careers they'll be wrestling each other one-on-one in singles action. Not only will it be Ibushi's first AEW match in nearly 2 years, or the first time wrestling Beretta, but it will actually be his first singles match ever in AEW, as he's only ever wrestled in multi-man affairs. The reasons why Ibushi has been away for so long are injuries and visa issues. On January 2nd, 2024, Ibushi broke both of his ankles during a match in Pro Wrestling Noah against Namochi Marufuji, but managed to make a return just 6 months later at a GLEAT event in Japan. While he has been getting his visa ready to return to the US, he has remained semi-active in Japan, wrestling for the likes of GLEAT, Marvelous, and the company where he originally made his name, DDT. As far as more details on this come courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. As I mentioned today, it was revealed that Ibushi would be taking on Trent Beretta on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. The two have never had a one-on-one match, but wrestled in tag team matches a number of times over the years. Now, Fightful said when they spoke to AEW sources about the match, they indicated that Beretta was an appropriate opponent for Ibushi's return because of his familiarity with both the American TV style and the style that Ibushi has worked in Japan. Beretta just returned from a one-year in-ring absence himself, and this will be his first singles match back as well. Those that Fightful spoke to said that Ibushi is in much better place physically than he has been in quite some time. Now, a big announcement from AEW President Tony Khan today regarding the Casino Gauntlet matches at AEW All in Texas. AEW announced that both the men's and women's Casino Gauntlet matches will take place at AEW All in Texas on July 12th. The winners will receive future title matches. The Casino Gauntlet has a random number of competitors, and the match ends by pinfall or submission. Competitors for the Casino Gauntlet match have yet to be announced. Now, let's talk about the ratings for Friday's episode of SmackDown on USA Network. As the Night of Champions premium live event edges closer, the June 20th episode of SmackDown had the world talking with what went down in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Both Randy Orton and Asuka booked their respective places in the King and Queen of the Ring tournament finals. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa made their US Championship match for Night of Champions official, and after getting himself disqualified against Ron Killings, John Cena proceeded to put CM Punk through a table and flip the script on the straight edge superstar by cutting a pipe bomb promo of his own. The hype for Cena's potential last match with Punk and the lack of sporting competition brought more eyes to SmackDown, as the Programming Insider has confirmed that the June 20th episode averaged a total of 1.524 million viewers. This is a 9% increase on both the June 13th average of 1.401 and the trailing 4-week average of 1.398 million viewers, as well as being the most watched episode of SmackDown since April 25th, which was the first show after WrestleMania 41, placing the show in 8th for the night across all networks in total viewership. Things were less eventful in the 18 to 49 demographic, as SmackDown posted a 0.38 number for the second week in a row, marking a 3% rise over the trailing 4-week average of a 0.37. However, this was enough for SmackDown to clinch top spots for the night across all network and cable telecasts, comfortably beating the special airing of the 1975 movie Jaws, which aired on NBC and posted a 0.31 number. With that said, Jaws did beat SmackDown in the 25 to 54 demographic with a 0.57 number compared to the 0.51 for SmackDown, and saw the highest number of total viewers for that, as the movie celebrated the 50th anniversary since its initial release. Now let's go over to AAA Lucha Libre here, because WWE may have signed another star from Lucha Libre AAA worldwide. According to Bodyslam.net, Psycho Clown will not be accepting independent wrestling bookings after August 2025, with the belief being the former AAA World Tag Team Champion has indeed signed with WWE. It is believed Psycho Clown will be reporting to WWE once his outside obligations are complete. It was recently reported that WWE have significant interest in using Psycho Clown on the main roster, which received guaranteed the luchador will be featured on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. Psycho Clown is one of the top stars in AAA, having begun using his current gimmick in 2007 after initially wrestling on the Indies and for CMLL. Psycho Clown was a part of the WWE and AAA Worlds Collide show, where he lost in a tag team match to Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto. Psycho Clown also teamed with Pagano in a four-way for the AAA World Tag Team titles at Triple Mania Regia that was won by the aforementioned Angel and Berto. WWE signed a number of AAA talents earlier this year in preparation for WWE and Philippe's acquisition of AAA, although Psycho Clown was not on this initial list. So certainly big news for him. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to the Janelle Grant lawsuit involving WWE and Vince McMahon. Janelle Grant's legal team is requesting a broad range of internal WWE and Vince McMahon communications, including board materials, NDA drafts, and documents already reviewed by federal investigators to challenge the enforceability of the arbitration clause. News of the request was reported by Brandon Thurston of Post Wrestling. Grant is requesting the following categories of documents and communications. 1. Documents sufficient to show the identity of each individual who participated in drafting and or reviewing the NDA. 2. All communications between you on the one hand and any other person or persons on the other concerning terminating Miss Grant's employment and or the NDA. 3. All communications between any of your employees or agents on the one hand and any other persons on the other regarding concerning terminating Miss Grant's employment and or the NDA. 4. All communications between any of WWE's employees, officers, directors, or agents on the one hand, and any other persons on the other concerning terminating Miss Grant's employment and or the NDA. 5. All drafts of the NDA. 6. All communications between you on the one hand and Linda McMahon on the other concerning Miss Grant and or the NDA. 7. All communications between you on the one hand and Dr. Carlin Coker on the other concerning Miss Grant and or the NDA. 8. Miss Grant's complete employment file. 9. All documents and communications generated by WWE's human resources personnel, including but not limited to communications to and from Meredith Hutt regarding Miss Grant's employment and separation from WWE and or the NDA. 10. All communications between you and or your counsel on the one hand and Jonathan Shapiro Esquire on the other concerning the NDA. 11. All board materials from January 1st, 2019 to January 30th, 2025. 12. All minutes of the board's audit committee from January 1st, 2019 to January 30th, 2025. 13. All documents and communications between you on the one hand and Endeavor on the other concerning disclosure of WWE's litigation liabilities from January 1st, 2019 to April 3rd, 2023. 14. All documents and communications produced by you to government investigators, including but not limited to the Department of Justice and or Securities and Exchange Commission concerning Miss Grant and or the NDA. 15. Documents sufficient to show A. All subpoenas and or voluntary requests for production and or testimony received by you and or your counsel concerning the SEC action, and B. Your responses and objections, if any, to the government's requests. 16. All documents and communications concerning WWE's claim that although WWE was party to the settlement agreements, one signed in 2019 and one signed in 2022, McMahon failed to disclose the agreements to WWE's board of directors, legal department accountants, financial reporting personnel, and auditor in the SEC action. 17. All documents and communications collected and reviewed in response to a request and or subpoena from the government determined to be responsive, withheld under an assertion of privilege, and later found to be non-privileged and discoverable under the crime fraud exception by Southern District of New York, as affirmed by the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in the grand jury subpoenas dated September 13th. 18. Documents sufficient to show the scope and methodology of the board's internal investigation. 19. Documents sufficient to identify all persons interviewed in the course of the board's internal investigation. And 20. All documents and communications concerning the findings and recommendations of the board's internal investigation. Now, Grant's counsel claimed in new filing submitted Monday night that Grant signed the NDA, quote, in an extreme state of duress and coercion at the hands of Vince McMahon. Grant's team gave the following statement to Post Wrestling saying, quote, WWE and McMahon had the opportunity to voluntarily provide discovery and they refused. They claim the NDA and its arbitration clause are enforceable, but resist any attempts to investigate whether Miss Grant was coerced into signing it. Facts that go to the heart of its enforceability. They can't have it both ways. Today, we ask the court to allow that discovery to proceed. Miss Grant deserves to have the facts about her case. Grant's initial lawsuit, which was filed in January 2024, accuses McMahon of sex trafficking and sexual abuse. And finally, the Beast Mortos has thanked both AEW and CMLL. The Beast Mortos has thanked the owners of CMLL and AEW for his Mexico City appearance. On Instagram, Mortos thanked both Salvador Lutaroff III and Tony Khan for his last-minute appearance at AEW Grand Slam Mexico, saying it was the first time he stepped into the arena in 14 years. Quote, "I can't find the words to describe how blessed I am because last Wednesday something unexpected came into my life and my professional career. I stepped foot in the cathedral of wrestling again after 14 years where this wonderful dream began. Not only that, I had the opportunity for my family, my mother, nephews, and my son to see me for the first time in my career at a big event and in an arena like the Mexico City Arena," he wrote. "I also want to thank Tony Khan and Mr. Salvador Lutarot for the opportunity to make this possible and for this dream to continue. I also want to thank my special person who came into my life as a beautiful blessing and who was also there to support me. And of course, I'm grateful to all the fans who are always there supporting me. And above all, I'm grateful to God." Now, the special person he may possibly be referring to there is Mercedes Moné. The two made their relationship public last week. Of course, Mortos filled in for Claudio Castagnoli, teamed with the Death Riders and the Young Bucks to defeat the Ops, Swerve Strickland, and Will Ospreay. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see right there, we are less than 300 subscribers away from 23,000 subscribers, getting closer to our goal of 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Click the like button. You can also see in the sidebar all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows we've got here live on the channel, including this weekend for WWE Night of Champions. We'll have a live stream watch-along and a live stream post-show, so be sure to join us then. I appreciate everyone for getting involved, as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.